All right, people. It is your favorite man to get mad at because I do tend to enrage people. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very good at being annoying. I'm very good. But how to be a bull? Let's see. I gotta get the poll up though. Hold on, you guys. I gotta get the poll up. I forgot to put the poll. How else am I gonna pole dance for you guys when I can't even do a proper poll? My God. Don't even tell me. All right, so get the live stream up here real quick. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna figure this out, you guys. I understand how this works. I understand what you might be thinking. Michael Donaldson says no hangover. I didn't really drink much last night. I only had a beer, and I played a little bit of a lot of Magic actually last night. But I do want to give an update. I don't think I actually let anybody know. So our little kitty Misty, Misty lives with my girlfriend and her parents. So Misty's doing all right. We were a little scared because she had to get little X-rays done and stuff. But it turns out that she has like kind of like an injury to her leg that she may have gotten when she's outside. So she needs to be a little more careful. It's tough because she's an older kitty and we're trying to, do what we can. But my girlfriend takes really good care of this cat. Like, she is very good to this cat. So I'm going to make sure sweet little Misty, gets whatever treatment she needs to get. But she's on antibiotics right now. Little Misty cat's doing good. So that's just a plus. Big cool thing. So we're going to talk about the, first off, we're going to talk about how to be a bull during bear markets. That's one thing. I have a poll I want to share with you guys. I'm wanting to do more polls lately. No pole dancing. Give me one moment. I get the poll going. If I could get the poll going, hold on. One of these days, I'll do what I can, and I'll do what I must. I'm putting out the poll, you guys. Hold on. I had the poll prepared beforehand. I'm just getting the options ready. I'm kind of curious to see how everybody on my channel is investing. So let's start the poll now. All right. So the poll is this. Be honest. What's your current strategy right now? Are you going to be buying like it's Black Friday? Are you holding strong? No changes. Are you sitting on cash? Or are you selling off your positions? What are you doing? What are you doing here? I have the chat logs. But anyway, so what is your guys' goal? Like, are you guys... And I'm curious to see how everybody... 4 votes already, actually. This is incredible. I have a tie on because I realized that I need to be more official. So I'm wearing my blue t-shirt, and I'm wearing my ridiculous tie, which I think I do look kind of ridiculous in a tie. Don't get me wrong. I look kind of gay. Why are you gay? Why am I gay? All right, so let's see. So we got 50% saying they're buying like it's Black Friday. Cool. Holding strong. So this is like, what is your current like investment strategy? You're just buying up as much as you can. That's what I'm doing. Man, I even decided to increase my margin a little bit just to buy a whole bunch of indexes and stuff like that, different ETFs. Holding strong at 25%. Now 0% are sitting on cash, which I do sit on cash a little bit, not entirely though. And then 20% are selling off their position. So we got a total of 5 votes on this particular poll. First off, let us get, I am losing my train of thought today. Give me 1 second here. Now, my thing is, we can't control what is outside of us a lot. We can only control what we do, how we react or respond to certain things. So I know that the best thing I could do is invest during bear markets as much as possible. Now, I still invest even during bull markets because you can never really know where the market will go. But when a massive sell-off happens, it's an opportunity. And the problem is a lot of people don't see it as an opportunity. They see it as something to avoid. And that's really a short-term gambler's mentality. So are you the gambler or are you the long-term investor? You have to ask yourself that question. You have to look in the mirror and be like, am I just a short-term gambler or am I an investor? And is my horizon long-term? 80% of my portfolio is buy and hold and never sell. Like never. I just collect dividends and that's it. 20% of my portfolio is swing traded, which means that I have 3 ETFs I swing trade. The bid, and this is not financial advice, just got to give a warning out. But the 3 ones that I do, the BITI, not an endorsement of these ETFs, by the way, not an endorsement. BITI, it's one way to bet against Bitcoin. SBIT, which allows me minus 2x exposure, which allows me to basically profit off the downfall of Bitcoin. Both of those do. And then the other one is SCHX, which is U.S. large cap holdings. There's like 752 holdings in it. It's like a lot of great companies all meshed up into one single index, which is nice. So I'm a big fan of index ETFs. Let's get to the comments here in just a second. I don't want to leave out any commenters. I want everybody to be able to get in on this action. Let's see. Thank you guys for being so damn patient. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be reading the comments here in just a second. All right, Michael Donaldson says no hangover. Nope. Oh. Shit. Aiden, so Aiden says my mom died today. Oh damn, dude. Fuck. I'm sorry about that, man. That's rough. I'm sorry about that, brother. Man, dude. Fuck. I'm sorry about that, brother. Man. That hurts, dude. That hurts, and I know that's hurting for you a lot. I know you're hurting a lot right now. I know prayer, I don't know how much prayer actually works. But I do know that all I could say is dude, my heavy condolences, man. That trying to keep composure, but I don't think I should. I know you're not doing good, Aiden. But I hope you could find some peace here in a second, bud. I really do. I hope you could find some peace right now, man. You're probably hurting a lot, and I wish I could give you a good answer as to feel better, but you're not gonna feel better at the moment. It's probably gonna be pretty tough. I thought I was gonna lose my mom in August, and I got lucky. She's still alive. She had some brain surgery that needed to be done. We weren't sure what the result was gonna be, and it's tough. My thoughts are with you on this one, Aiden. we'll continue the stream. Continue the stream here. Raging Goat says, say a cuss word and I give you $10. All right. Piss, shit, cocks. I don't know what I say fuck all the time. So anyway, let's keep going. Jackie Reagan says hi. Hello. Hello, Jackie. Welcome to the show. Deuce and Me says big back song. All right. Tight. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're talking about pretty much just, we're trying to figure out, what are you doing? What is your current investment strategy right now? Is it, so we got 33% of you are saying they're buying stocks and stuff like that as if it's Black Friday. Holding strong, no changes for 50% of you. 0% say sitting on cash, and then the rest of you, I can't see what the rest of it says. Hold on. 1 second. 17% say selling off positions. So yeah, we'll revisit the poll, but make sure you guys vote in the poll, by the way. I'm trying to figure out what my viewers are doing. I'm buying. I was buying the last 2 days. I've been buying up as many index ETFs that I can, because when a massive sell-off like that happens, man, it's really an opportunity. Like every large cap company was getting sold off like crazy. The one shocking thing to me was the lack of a sell-off for Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin recently had a massive sell-off because it went all the way up to $109,000 and then all the way plummeted down to even I think like 80,000 at one point. But the goal is, I profited pretty heavy off the downfall of Bitcoin. I've been profiting very heavily. So when it was on its major bull run, I bet against it pretty heavily. And then when it crashed, I was able to make a lot of money. So there's a lot of money to be made being a bear against Ponzi schemes. So here's the thing. I'm bullish during bear markets and stocks. I am bearish on bull runs in Bitcoin. And because I'm so bearish on Bitcoin, I tend to bet against Bitcoin. So that's a huge deal. I think betting against Bitcoin is probably the smartest move that I can make most of the time. And yeah, it's the smartest move I think most people can make. It's not financial advice, obviously, but it is something. I don't think everybody's on board with my mentality on it, and that's totally fine, by the way. I don't want people to invest like me. Even though I think that the way I invest is pretty good, I'm pretty contrarian. I don't follow the crowd. I think the crowd is often wrong. I think if everybody believes something, then chances are it's bad for me. It's probably bad for me to believe in it. I'm not a big fan. I just believe the collective is often wrong. Now, it is right from time to time, maybe 20% of the time, but I do believe the collective is often wrong about 80. The 80-20 rule actually applies to the collective, shockingly. So 80%, and this is just, by the way, this is just my analysis of the world. I think 80% of the things that everybody does is bad for you. 20% of the things that everybody does is good for you. Now, you do have to be intelligent, obviously, about it. So, for example, everybody wears clothes, for the most part. Most people wear clothes. So I should probably wear clothes. I don't want to be walking around naked. So you have to be intelligent about it. You can't just be contrarian on everything. But you do get the option to decide what you're contrarian to. And if you think about it intelligently, sometimes you could be a contrarian to things that just are stupid as shit. For example, and my buddy disagrees with me on this, but a lot of people watch the news. A lot of people take in the news, and a lot of people are miserable. I really do think it affects people subconsciously, and they're just not willing to admit it. But a lot of the news is not meant to inform you. It's meant to increase the ratings of the respective news station that they're about. They're trying to make a profit. They're not trying to spout the truth. And that's the one thing that, as much as I love my buddy, he's a good dude, I just think he's so heavily wrong about a lot of stuff. He thinks I'm heavily wrong about a lot of stuff too. And and good on that. I still love the fucker though. He's a good dude. But like that's the one thing. I got a little annoyed because saying I'm willfully ignorant. He did say that. I love him. I'm not willfully ignorant. I am very selective in what I learn though, and what I think is important. And look, we have 24 hours in a day. I work 8 hours a day. That's my main focus is working. I do this show. My main focus is just how to invest better. My main focus is how to make a better life for myself. Because I can't look. The only way I'm going to make a better life for anybody else is for me to get my shit together. That's it. I don't think the news is going to make me a better person. I don't think it even makes me more informed. In fact, if anything, I think it makes me more confused. Because, and this is the thing, there was a term that both my buddies talked to me about. I didn't know much about the term. It was derealization. Now, I'm actually shocked that more people are not, I guess I wouldn't like to say victim of derealization, but I'm surprised that more people aren't. I think most people are in a state of derealization because the world is kind of confusing sometimes. There's a lot going on. You can't keep track of everything. You can't know everything. And look, even though there's a lot of information out there in the outflow, is all of it even good information to take in? Like, I think you should be selective about the information you take in. I'm not saying nitpick the news, but what I'm trying to say is just because there's a news headline doesn't mean it's necessary for you to actually need to know it. If anything, most of it's about war, or some killing, or some sort of legislation bullshit. And it's good to know, I guess, legislation that's going on, things that are happening. I get that. I think the problem with me is I just think that most of the stuff that people believe is bullshit, and I can't get that out of my head. I think that most news reporting is bullshit, and I think anybody can say anything's a fact, even especially local news stations. I think mainstream media, because of how corrupt mainstream media is, it trickles down to local stations. I believe that. And you can call me ignorant, you can call me willfully ignorant. I choose not to take in bullshit. Do you know the information that I take in? Here, I'll show you. I keep this on my desk because, one, there may be a concept that I forgot. This is, by the way, object-oriented programming in C++. I love programming in C++. I'm a software guy, right? Look, I have a very Sherlock Holmes approach to information. Look, a lot of information, if it doesn't pertain to what I'm doing, I don't need to know it. In fact, maybe I don't even need to care to know it. Now, there are certain interests that I have. I am very interested in things that we discover in space, for example. I'm interested in scientific breakthroughs. I am interested in progress. I just don't think that progress happens through the government. I believe that progress happens through the creation of businesses and those businesses solving problems. I love SpaceX. I think what SpaceX has been able to do is extraordinary. I think that the only way to have breakthrough is to basically keep government out of the hands of business and keep business out of the hands of government. Just keep them separate as much as they can be. But yeah, this is the type of shit that I take in on the daily. This is I read books. I read for information, but I'm very selective about the information I take in. That's important to me. Sometimes the information I take in, if I think it's garbage, I'll stop reading. Look, I think most news headlines are stupid. Even if I agree with the news, I tend to not really care because I still have an assumption that a lot of it is fake. Like, the problem with all these news outlets is it's always negative. They do seem to have a bit of an agenda, and I do believe that the people who work for these news stations are in a literal bubble. I'm serious. They're in an echo chamber. They're in a certain type of bubble. I do believe that most people in media are, even including me, I think I'm a little bit of a piece of shit. I'm really more of I'm throwing spitballs. at a lot. I'm mocking. That's why the title of the show is in the SpongeBob mocking format. But I really am mocking culture, and I do believe that most culture is filled with hate. Our American culture lately has been so hate-filled. And yeah, do I mock? Sure. I'm a little hateful. Sure. I think we need to be honest about our hate, and I think that most news, like, and it's interesting because I was thinking about it. Like, I don't, as an investor, I don't actually read the news. Like, I will, if I'm interested in a company, I'll look up news related to that company, usually just using Google News. I don't really have a complex method, by the way. And I'll just see, like, how much good news versus bad news is related to that company. And I look at the financial statements of the company. I just want to know if it's valuable and if it's being ran well, ran shitty, you name it, right? So I make my own judgment calls on a lot of stuff. But for the most part, I don't seek out the news. I don't have any alerts for news. I think that most news is poison. I really do. I just don't think there's any real benefit to it. And sure, call me, say that I'm not informed. Okay, fine. Willfully ignorant. Sure, I'll take it. I'll take those titles because I know personally that's not true. I'm selective in the information I take in, and if that makes me ill-informed, good, because I'm not really looking for the news anyway. I don't really care. Most events I can't control anyway. So why should I look at the news? Why should I care? Maybe I should watch C-SPAN every now and then and see what sort of corrupt bullshit our government's doing, see what sort of corrupt legislation, but that's about it. And if there's anything I should watch, I should just watch C-SPAN, see what they're doing in government, and then if it's bullshit, if I think it's bullshit, I will, we got to make your own judgment calls. But like, I think most news is bullshit. I think the anchor sitting behind the desk is full of shit. I think most of the reporters are full of shit. I believe that. And yeah, call me willfully ignorant. No, I'm selective about the information I take in because I think a lot of the information is bullshit and doesn't even need to be known by me. Why do I need to know? Why do I need to know that terrible atrocities are happening around the world or happening in the US? It doesn't affect me really in any way. I still do like to look up the news every now and then because I am curious what's going on in the world. But I think people's interpretation of events, I think the news is too busy telling you how to think versus telling you what the facts actually are. I question the facts. I wonder if the facts are just made up because I feel like I've been lied to too much by mainstream media. I do think it, like I said, I think it trickles down to the local level as well. I just don't trust the news. I trust, I don't know, I trust learning about things. I just love learning about things. But if we're going to be honest, like I said, the information I take in is from individuals who have experience that I don't have. I have mentors all over the place that I've never met through books, through videos, and I just want to learn concepts. I want to learn skills, and the best way for me to learn skills, honestly, is just to take in what I can, and then just take the knowledge that I apply, and take the knowledge that I've accumulated, and then start applying that knowledge as soon as I possibly can, even if it's poor. And I believe that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly, by the way. Fun fact. Because when I started walking, my parents didn't like shut me off because I was defective. I couldn't walk until I learned how to walk. You have to stumble a few times to learn to walk. You can't just, you know what I mean? And now here's the thing, as you get older though, the beauty is when you start having the ability to read and learn and things like that, the ability to take in information, you don't have to stumble anymore. I've learned from other people's mistakes more than I've learned from my own mistakes, and I'm very proud about that because I read a lot. I read a lot of books. I wouldn't say a lot, but I read enough. Like, there's one book, though, that was kind of boring to me. That took me a while to read because I would just revisit it every now and then. I just shove it in a closet. I read like 10. I wanted to finish it, though, because I was tired of having it. It's an okay book. It's like How to Be a Millionaire in Real Estate, which actually, the ending of the last 20 pages of the book are actually pretty good, shockingly. Let's see. Zero does dumb things. I'm not going to read that comment. Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. But yeah, I will say that Um, you know, what we're seeing here in the world is, look, there's a lot of things you can't control. Why spend time constantly? And this is like the big disagreement that my buddy, the Eagle, and I have. Our big disagreement is, I think the news is bullshit. I really think the news is bullshit. He thinks that he's more informed because of it, and more power to him. I also don't have the time or the inclination or the energy to always look up every single news article. Does he have more time than me? Absolutely. You know, he's a good dad, but he does have more time than me. 8 hours of his day is spent at home doing certain things. So he has more time to like listen to the news, read the news. Me personally, I think that it's bad for you, and I hope my buddy's doing okay mentally. I really do, because I think that if you take in too much news, it affects you at a subconscious level, and I just don't think that people realize that. I've even looked up studies on that massive news consumption is actually bad for the psyche. So I know people think they're getting educated, but they're not. They're just not. And the best way to educate yourself is to learn new skills. That's the best education in the world. Learn new concepts, understand things better. Learning about new events doesn't change anything to me. I like the tariffs situation, for instance. I can't do anything about that. I can maybe call my senator. I'm not against the tariffs, though. That's the difference. My buddy Billy, he should call Oregon senator or something. I don't know. Somebody. Call somebody in the House of Representatives. Somebody, I don't know. Call somebody. I'm just saying, instead of, reading the news and then just getting mad about it, do something about it. Call your senator. Call your House of Representatives. I don't know. I feel like there's no purpose to it. I just don't feel like there's a purpose. None at all. So I think like I said, a lot of it's bullshit. And disagree with me. I just think that most news consumption is bullshit. I believe you don't really learn anything at the end of the day, and you just get kind of inundated with information. And I think it affects people at a subconscious level. And feel free to disagree with me, by the way. I want people to disagree with me or agree with me. I just want people to be truthful with me. Think what you want to think, but I just don't think at the end of the day. My show is not based on events. My show is based on understanding different concepts in investing. That's pretty much the core of the show. And also to do comedy. I really do enjoy doing weird comedy, and mainly in real life comedy. It's always fun. I should actually go and interview people with this stupid fucking tie on. I should put this tie on just the way I have it, and then just start interviewing people. Oh, I gotta straighten out my back. Hold on. Oh. But I'm feeling pretty buff. Feeling good. I actually did a little stretches this morning. Feeling buff. Feeling tough. I do gotta lower down my butt. I actually have a lot of weight in my legs. Like a lot of weight in my legs. It's tough for me to do a full pull-up, but I could stretch out my back. I just do a lot of dead hangs on the pull-up bar. It's one of the things I do. But yeah, overall, my philosophy is always be bullish during bear markets because you're getting everything at a discount. If you sell your positions, you're an idiot. I'm just going to be very honest. Still talk to a financial advisor, but I am going to berate anybody who sells during a bear market because you're just stupid. And that goes for, there's this guy named Meet Kevin who sold his entire stock portfolio. He's one of those YouTube finance guys who has millions of fucking followers. He sold his entire portfolio because he thought he could time the market. Look, I don't know what direction the market's going to go. So all I can do is figure out what's happening today, right? If the market is down 4 or 5%, what am I going to do? What do I do personally? I'm buying some fucking ETFs, dude. I'm buying ETFs, index-based ETFs, and I'm holding. I bought a whole bunch of SCHX. That's a fucking good one to have, in my opinion, and it's one of my faves. So, but yeah, I think overall, what people don't realize is that they're missing out on an opportunity. Bear market is an opportunity more than anything. And I'm just shocked that more people don't treat it like that. It's a big opportunity, and sometimes the message is lost just a little bit. But yeah, there's several indexes that have gone down. Like I prefer like the large cap index one because it's very broad. It's across all the different sectors, but it's like the best companies across all the different sectors. And it's the SCHX is one of my favorite ones to swing trade because one, the moment you start buying shares, you're getting pretty good diversification. You can kind of rest easy knowing that a lot of the companies in this large cap index are really, really good companies. And that's really about it. So I just buy low. I buy low on this index. And then once it goes back up, I start kind of trickle sell. I call it trickle selling. So I like to accumulate a lot of different shares on it. And then I buy a lot of the shares on the dip. I am very much a dip buyer. I don't like to, I mean, I'll still, like I said, I dollar cost average into the market. So all the dividends that I get, I typically just throw that money into other companies that I particularly like. Yeah. So really it's just invest is my core philosophy. And, people don't see investing the way that I do. I'm more focused on how many assets can I accumulate versus how much money can I make. I obviously want to make, I want the value of my investments to go up, obviously, but I also want the dividends to increase over time as well. So I'm really focused on dividend growth. As much as I love share price appreciation through stock buybacks and stuff like that, and just, companies with good earnings, one of the simplest things you could do during a bear market is just buy a lot of the like the index ETFs. So yeah, while the end is nigh in a lot of these YouTube financiers' eyes, like for example, one of the reasons I hate Graham Stephan is he has such a doom and gloom to his videos in the beginning. I mean, he has usually a positive outlook at the end, but he's very much I call him a clickbait finance video guy. I also consider a lot of the finance YouTubers clickbait freaks. I'm a little bit of a clickbaity guy, not myself. I'm one of those. I kind of in that crowd a little bit. I do try to keep the title of my videos as honest as I possibly can, just because it's the smartest thing I could do. And yeah, but yeah, this is really just kind of how are you gonna be a bull during a bear market? It's like how do you be a bull? I'm a bull. And the best thing you could do is buy from the bear. And if you're a swing trader, me personally, as a swing trader, I buy from the bear and I sell to the bull. And like I said, 20% of my portfolio, roughly, maybe it's 25% at this point, is swing traded through 3 ETFs. And they're the kind where I could buy low and I can sell high. But yeah, my love of investing is really, it's real, and constantly investing as much as I can and when I can. I think if you ain't investing, I don't know what you're doing. Investing's a good thing, though. I'm just shocked more people don't do it. I mean, if you're just, honestly, you could be a very ignorant investor, by the way. You don't even really need to know much. And you could just load up your portfolio with a ton of index-based ETFs, and at the end of the day, you're not in a bad position. But yeah, bear markets are really a good time to buy. I'm just shocked that more people. I hate when I tune in. I don't really, like I said, I don't watch the news, but sometimes I will look up clips like from CNBC or what have you. But all I ever see on there is just people freaking out about the markets. Like, oh no. What stock should I buy now that it's in a bear market? Just buy some fucking indexes. Buy the index. Buy any sort of index as long as it's diversified enough and as long as it's not small cap bullshit. Small cap gets clobbered during market crashes, man. Small cap companies get clobbered. But I will say, having ETFs that are composed of large and middle cap, or mid cap and large cap, are actually, I don't know which ones specifically are large and mid cap, but you can actually, technically, you can have a portfolio that consists of nothing but large and mid cap, and that's it. I don't know how much I recommend that though, because I can't really recommend anything because this is not financial advice. But overall, yeah, I just think that my philosophy is during a bear market, it's a buying opportunity. Now, I do sit on a little bit of cash. I'm not going to lie, because you never know when a bear market will creep its head. What will come out of the woodwork and be like, ooh. So you just don't know. And yeah, there's been a lot of gains that have been wiped out. Do I care? No. I'm in it for the dividends. I'm in it for the dividends, and if I can get the dividends a lot cheaper, sure. I'm also the SCHX is my swing trading ETF. So I'm looking to buy that at a lower price. So the lower I go, the better. I get to play the volatility pretty safely as well. I get to swing trade it. So anything I can swing trade, anything I could do, I'm a happy camper at the end of the day. But yeah, always investing, I think, is really the key. Invest as much as you can. Diversify really is the key. So diversify, and the best way to diversify is through the different exchange traded funds that are out there. Me personally, the market will react the way the market will react. A lot of economists don't like the whole tariff situation. All right. Fine. Keep selling though. As I really think that the tariff situation, I'm constantly buying international companies. I'm constantly buying U.S. companies. I buy a lot of ETFs that are international and U.S. I will admit that on the ETF front, I definitely try to gather as many international ones because they're a lot broader, a lot more broad. But when it comes to the U.S. stocks, I look for real estate investment trusts, and I'll just buy a share of the ones that have good balance sheets and are well managed. Really, my goal is to rack up on real estate investment trusts at the end of the day. I love real estate investment trust, brother. I'm all about that life. REITs, baby, REITs. REITs on my teats. But, yeah. But, I'm glad I'm able to do this. This is too much fun, man. Too much fucking fun, dude. Hell yeah. I was thinking about using these as like a cell phone holder in the car, like kind of like hooks. I don't know what I'm going to hook them on though. But I might be able to use these as like a makeshift cell phone holder actually in the car. It's going to be fun. So these are like little Gorilla Wire things or whatever. They're kind of sturdy, you know, you can go in all sorts of directions. Woo. This one's green, this one's yellow. One moment. But I'm sad, you guys. I'm so sad. The market's crashing. I'm gonna cry. I will say this. I hope people don't panic sell, because look, if there may be more hurt ahead, whatever, but it doesn't mean that you need to sell in a panic. There's just never any reason for that, because what you're holding is more valuable. And another thing that a few of my buddies and I disagree on is, what is more valuable? What is more valuable, money or the assets that you hold? And I argue the assets, because they actually do something. Money doesn't do anything. Money's not backed by anything. Sure, can you buy things with money? Yes, but money becomes less and less valuable over time because it isn't valuable. It has a perceptual value. That is the simplest thing. Why do you think the price of everything around you goes up? Because the dollar becomes less valuable over time. Therefore, the price of things have to go up because everything gets more expensive because of inflation. And the only reason massive inflation happens is because the dollar is worthless. All currencies are worthless, physical and digital, mind you. Yeah, but what I'm saying is accurate. I don't, it's the sad part is I don't need a bunch of news headlines to tell me that I'm right or wrong. Is the difference. I know I'm right because I've got evidence to back it up for the most part. But yeah, I will say this though. I would rather have my money in an S&P 500 index ETF than have my money in a house. As much as I love having a house, I know that an S&P 500 index would actually be far more valuable in the long run. So that's my belief on it. And yeah, a lot of people will say, Mike, you're wrong. Mike, you're dumb. This is stupid. And to them, I say, all right, let me be wrong. I will say, though, like I said, I still believe, and my buddy gets real pissed at me about this, because I think it's wrong to say that I'm ignorant for not wanting to look at every single fucking news article out there, because it just takes too much fucking time, and most of it's bullshit. And I see there's nothing wrong with calling most of it bullshit, by the way. There is nothing wrong with it, because nobody can prove to me that it isn't. And also, anybody can say, by the way, that something's a fact. Just fun fact, anybody can say anything's a fact. The sad part is nobody questions it anymore. If a major news station says it's a fact, or even a local one, they could say it's a fact. They can lie to you all day, but it's because there's so much information out there, you can't fact check everything. And even the fact checkers, God, I don't even know how much I trust them. It's just crazy. There's like I think there's just a lack of trust. And I feel like trust needs to be earned. And I feel like the trust went away a long time ago. Well, not a long time. Actually, yeah, a long time ago. When news stations... Well, first off, a lot of news stations are owned by disillusioned people. And I don't trust those people. I don't trust the people who own the news stations, because they're the ones who are looking for certain stories. They're not looking for truth. They're looking for ratings. And you know what sells really good ratings? Hatred. Seriously, hatred sells. Hate sells, and it sells well. There's two things that sell well: sex and hatred. And that's the one thing. It's one of the reasons I don't like the news, because it just feels like there's just a lot of hate-filled bullshit, a lot of fear. By the way, let's just be afraid. Let's all huddle up in the corner. We're living in the best time that we've ever lived. By the way, just as a fun fact, technologically speaking, and just overall, we're living in the golden age, and we don't even know it. And mainly because, honestly, you watch the news enough, you think that everything is just bad. And one of the reasons why my buddy and I disagree. I think that if I wasted my time watching all the news stuff, it'd be a waste of time. It would be seriously a waste of time. At the end of the day, I'm going to look at myself in the mirror and be like, well, I can't really do anything about all this. Why do I need to know this? Like, seriously, why do I need to know this bullshit? I don't understand. So yeah, it's been a big argument between my buddy and I. It doesn't make our friendship any worse or anything like that. I still think he's one of the best friends I've ever had. Still believe that no matter what. And I don't expect him to agree with me on it. I don't like being called ignorant. That's annoying, because it's like willfully ignorant is one thing. I think the thing is, you could argue that my buddy, while he calls me ignorant, I could also say that he's ignorant in the fact that he takes everything as is from these news organizations, even the local ones. I think you should question the information, all of it, at this point. I just don't think that... And that doesn't make me a conspiracy theorist. I just don't understand how that can make me a conspiracy theorist. Like, some people would say that, and I don't agree with that. I think it's wrong. At the end of the day, news, like my buddy did say, is very opinion-based these days, so who's to say who is actually reporting correctly? So, at the end of the day, it's all bullshit. So, and yeah, I believe it's all bullshit, and I'm proud to believe that it's bullshit, because at the end of the day, what am I going to do with all this fucking information? I haven't changed anything by knowing it. I even got bored and I read the news today. I read a few news articles. In fact, I thought to myself, what am I doing? This is... And a lot of news I don't agree with anyway, because it's just doom and gloom bullshit. Like, what am I going to do with this information? Like, come on, man. I don't know. It's frustrating. And it's a disagreement I have with a lot of people, actually. People who watch the news in general. whether it's friends or people that I kind of meet, it's like, what's the point of keeping up with all of it? I just would become a more miserable person. I would just become depressed. Now, things affect me on a conscious level more than anything, and the subconscious level, both. Anyway, so I'm going to read Michael Donaldson's comment real quick. I love putting my money in my house. My house has tripled in value in the last 10 years. Well, hell yeah, dude. Honestly, good on you, brother. I still think that an S&P 500 index, though, is a, and a lot of people disagree with me on this, but it's a better investment because while the house does appreciate in value over time, the companies in the S&P 500 are actually productive assets. So in essence, like if you put $100,000 into a house 20 years ago, right, and you put respectively put $100,000 into an S&P 500 index, that S&P 500 index would have actually outperformed the house by quite a bit. And that's one of the reasons why I'm more invested in stocks than anything, at least being diversified in stocks, because a house is not a productive asset unless it's leased out. By default, you have a ton of productive assets sitting in an S&P 500 index. But that's just my take on it, you know. And hey, if you're good at real estate and you understand your shit, I mean, if you could take a foreclosed house and turn it into a diamond, you know, maybe it's like a foreclosed house that's kind of got a lot of shit like going on with it, and you're able to fix it up and turn it for a profit, hey, more power to you. But like, I think that just kind of buying a home and sitting on it, it's just, you know, it just appreciates in value, sure. But I don't know. It's just me. I mean, I would love to get into real estate in the sense of helping people like flip houses. That would be fun. That'd be a fun experience, you know. Help people work on a house, make it better. That'd be a very fun experience, though. Other than that, though, my main real estate exposure is real estate investment trust because it's companies that own a ton of real estate and lease that real estate out to whether it's businesses, individuals, that sort of thing. So I love it. But let's see. But here's the thing. I will say this about the news. I do feel like it's a game of mean girls a little bit. Like, I just feel like the news has become so polarized I can't trust any source. You know what I mean? That's why my channel's not a news channel, really, at the end of the day. I mock the news. I absolutely mock the news. In fact, I mock a lot of the events that are going on. And I think it's good to mock things that are mockable. You know, I think a lot of events that are happening are very mockable at the moment. So that's just my take on it. But I'd like to believe it's a healthy one, but I hope people disagree with it too. Renting is a waste of money. Owning at least the house you live in is a must. I'm going to be contrarian on that, and not on purpose. I just don't believe that. The reason I don't believe that is because I rent. I pay about roughly $675 a month, and I have a lot of extra money because one, I don't have to do any of my own repairs. I don't have to pay any property tax, by the way. And my lease agreement gives me a lot of freedom. So the beauty is I have all this freedom and I have a lot of extra money. So a lot of this extra money that I'm not paying towards rent, I'm putting into actual investments like index ETFs, individual stocks, trying to up my portfolio, right? My portfolio, the dividends that come in could in theory pay for not majority of my rent, at least half my rent, maybe a little more. But what I'm trying to say is this: I choose to take the dividends and just reinvest them into my overall portfolio. And then if I ever do decide to buy a house, right? If I decide to buy a house, get a mortgage, I could use a lot of the dividends to pay the mortgage. And so the goal is to have assets to pay for other assets, really. And I do consider, by the way, a house is an asset. I still consider a house an asset. I just don't think in the overall grand scheme of things, it is the most, I don't think it is the most valuable asset in the world. I do believe that owning companies, publicly traded companies, are the easiest to get involved in. Are they a little overvalued? Sure. But are they making money head over heels? For the most part, yes. And a lot of it, if you get into good companies, they'll pay you a dividend. at the bare minimum, and the dividends tend to grow. So I would rather be in something that is constantly in the process of growing and be diversified, by the way. I still think it's a dumb idea, for instance, to own just one house. If you can, try to own as many as you can. It gets a little complicated if you have to own multiple houses. But yeah, the thing is with stocks, for example, I own a ton of different real estate investment trusts, and each real estate investment trust holds thousands upon thousands of properties that are constantly being leased out. And the rent is always constantly being increased for the most part, which means REITs are actually fairly inflation proof. And a lot of the REITs are leased out real estate. So in a sense, here's the thing about real estate. Real estate can either be a non-productive asset if it's not leased out, and then it could be a productive asset when leased out. So it just depends. So I think real estate's great. If you can get like a duplex or a triplex or something like that, live in one of the units and then rent out the other two, I think that's fair. I wouldn't mind actually buying into townhouses and stuff, you know what I mean? Like having townhouses that are like two separate ones. That'd be fucking cool. But at the end of the day, my goal is to, my main goal is to rack up on stocks, make money on YouTube to the best of my ability, for sure. And I kind of use YouTube as like really just virtual real estate and I use Spotify, my podcast, as virtual real estate too, because I make money off the advertisements there. Michael Donaldson says my last two houses were foreclosed cash deals. Yeah, hell yeah. No, that's great, because the thing is, getting the funds is one thing. But here's another thing I didn't consider, that even if you get a loan with a higher interest rate, right? If you can get a foreclosed property at a very, very low cost, even if you have a high interest rate personal loan that you have to pay off, if you can get, like, for example, a 100, houses are a little more expensive than that. Let's say there's a house that under most ideal circumstances would be purchasable at, like, I don't know, let's just put a number out, $250,000, right? And you go to some sort of foreclosed auction and you're able to get it for, and by the way, my numbers are probably off because I never go to these auctions, but I do know how, for the most part, how they work. And I'm not saying I know there's like always levels of ignorance to everybody's knowledge. But anyway, so you go to one of those auctions things, right? And let's say it's going for a minimum bid of, I don't know, $30,000, right? There will be people bidding for that. So what starts out as a $30,000 minimum bid, it might end up being $60,000, $70,000, that sort of thing. It is good to try to check out the property or multiple properties before trying to lay in any bids. But you should, from what I've read, this is from what I've read, you should have, if I remember this correctly, it's not financial advice, by the way. I always have to note that down. You should have some sort of lender at the standby, on the standby, where you can get that money quickly, whether it's a personal loan, whether it's like, and this is one of the reasons why I'm upping my credit, because I would love to actually get my grubby hands on a foreclosed property. Mainly because the thing is, there are property taxes that might still be due on that foreclosed property as well, something to keep in mind. So you do want to go try to get something where the property taxes are kind of low to begin with, but like also there's not too much owed. You still want to try to figure out like what property tax is owed. That's a big deal. Sometimes there's an interesting way to make money. Michael Donaldson says, I don't take part in auctions. They usually rip off. Oh, George Washington, though, says Chubby. Thank you, George Washington. I appreciate you, brother. Michael Donaldson says, I don't take part in auctions. They're usually rip off. So, how do you... I don't want you don't have to reveal all your secrets, but honestly, this is an educational moment for the channel. Michael Donaldson, I want to ask you, how do you typically get foreclosed properties? Because I'm so curious about this, by the way. Like, I want to know. So let's see. Michael Donaldson says, I don't take part in auctions. They're usually a ripoff. Okay. That's fair. $400 a year proper. Damn. It's fucking cheap. It's fucking cheap. That's some good shit, dude. Hell yeah. It's fucking cheap as shit, dude. Hell. You guys think I could turn this tie into a smartphone holder? I don't know how I'd pull that off, actually. I could. Think about this. Check this out. I could turn this. I don't know if this would be a good idea because there'd be too much bullshit in there, but see, put this on the tie, right? And then maybe tie that together. No, that would slide off. I could do a wraparound. I could tie loop this, kind of loop it like that. Oh, you know what I could do? Check this out. Tie it around, right? Bring it around town. And then, right? And then I got my other one. I got this one. And then, this actually is going to be kind of probably stupid as fuck. Smartphone holder. Sort of. Actually, that's not going to work. That's terrible. But these are fun to fuck around with. Let's see. All right, let's take a look here. So Michael Donaldson says, work with a realtor. They list them. And if you have a realtor, they will let you know before they're listed so you can bid on it first. Ooh, interesting. So this is Michael Donaldson. I appreciate you revealing your. It's probably not much of a secret, but you know, I got there's some ignorance, and I need to learn. So I got mentors everywhere, man. Let's see. The fuck is all my paper? Oh, here it is. So you're saying just get a realtor? All right. So let's see. So Donaldson says work with a realtor. Realtor. They list foreclosed homes and will let you know before they're listed. Okay. So you can bid on them first. It's not okay. So Michael Donaldson's right. It's not necessarily a secret because I had some idea on how it worked. I just didn't realize that realtors tended to list the foreclosed homes to where you can get a hold of, at least where you can bid on them first and kind of get an edge on somebody else to get to the that part of it. I did not know. So thank you, Michael Donaldson. I appreciate it. It's interesting shit. So you're telling me, at the end of the day, I guess I could find some realtors in Coos Bay, North Bend. Let's see. Let's go on Google Maps real quick. Realtors in Coos Bay, North Bend, Oregon. Let's see if I can find like some Google Map shit. All right, let's take a look at the maps. Oh, my boy, Michael Jimenez. Ryan, so let's see, we got Ryan Cross, realtor. Got a five-star rating. All right. We got Shy. 126. Wow, a lot of 5-star reviews here. We got Remax, South Coast. They got 4.8. Pacific Property, Southwind Realty. Hell yeah, I need to start talking to more realtors then. Hell yeah, gotta start talking to them realtors, you guys. Let's see. Most foreclosed houses you can't get a loan, so you have to have somebody with some cash to help you out. Who would you say you typically go to? Do you typically go to like investors, or what are some non-traditional ways to get kind of a long-term loan on a foreclosed home? I know mortgages are out of the question, but is there anything similar that you would? I know I'm picking your brain for free, and feel free to answer this if you want. This is totally optional, by the way. I don't want to put you on any pressure spots or anything like that. But when it comes to getting loans, what would be the best vessel you could think of to getting loans? Like, who has the money? Would I have to look for some real estate investors around the area, or who would be willing to lend me the money? Or, because like the thing is, I want to use somebody else's money. I don't want to use my own money is the key. So you always want to try. The goal is, if you can, use somebody else's money first, and then kind of, you know what I mean? So that's the goal, at least. At least that's my goal. Because I'm a skeezy man. I'm a skeezy boy. Yeah, use other people's money. George Washington says, "Why don't you have an actual job?" I work at the Bachelor's Inn as a male stripper. It's my local strip club, all right? And I'm an OnlyFans model. George Washington says, "Broke boy." Oh! Call me a broke boy? Get your pussy out here, boy. Get your pussy. How dare you? How dare you call me? You know, sometimes I wonder, why is everybody calling me a brokey? Yeah, clean your room. Let's see. Michael Donaldson says, my first foreclosed house, I was able to get a loan. Hold on, let's see. So let's see. My first foreclosed house, I was able to get a loan after that. I needed some extra cash for my next, so I asked family for help. I got you. Damn, you see, I'm always looking to like try to get money from a bank or something. I don't know. Sometimes that might even be a ripoff, but it sucks. It's funny because the biggest opportunities are typically in foreclosed homes. That's the crazy part about this, dude. Are you a big Michael Donaldson? I'm assuming you know this name, the name Dean Graziosi. I'm going to repeat the name one more time. Do you know who Dean Graziosi is? Because I have a feeling that you learned from Dean Graziosi. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I've actually, How to Be a Real Estate Millionaire is actually the one book that I've kind of slowly been finishing. I'm almost done with it. But yeah, the book is called How to Be a Real Estate Millionaire. Like, did you like learn about real estate from my boy Dean, or like, how did you learn about, because I've learned more about foreclosed homes from my boy Dean Graziosi, his books on it. And, Michael Donaldson says, I'm thinking of going to the mainland this summer. We should grab a beer. That'd be cool. Yeah, dude. I was going to say, if you wind up somewhere in Oregon, like I was going to say, if you wind up in like the Coos Bay, North Bend area, or even like Bandon, or maybe an hour or two out, that'd be cool. I would try to, grab a beer with you, brother. That'd be cool, man. But, Michael Donaldson says, nope, no idea who that is. And the only reason I ask is because that's who it's funny that you even mentioned foreclosed homes, because that's what I've been kind of studying through this book that my boy Dean has. It's just weird coincidence on that one, but I've been kind of studying like different ways to get, ways to locate. That's the one thing I didn't learn about though yet. I'm towards the end of the book, and I think he did, he probably did mention realtors that realtors actually have a lot of those listed, so it's possible I forgot. Sometimes I forget, but it's good to have a reminder though, because it's tough to remember everything sometimes. I will say though, I've learned different ways on making money though through it, like getting a tax lien, for instance. Like getting a tax lien on the property, for example, is an interesting way to do it. I was actually considering looking up what's your opinion on tax liens? Getting like a tax lien to buy, and then I think like after a certain amount of time you get ownership of the house or something like that. Like if you buy the tax lien itself because like some houses and properties get foreclosed upon, and sometimes it's easier for I might be misinterpreting this, but I think if I remember right, a tax lien is you get to take ownership of the taxation of the property, and the property owner tries to pay you back or something but like that. And if they don't pay the back taxes, then you get to basically own the property. Have you ever tried owning a property through a tax lien before? I don't know if you have a lot of experience in tax liens at all, but I thought that would be an interesting way to do it. And I could be kind of wrong on this one. George Washington says, "Did you ride the short buses in school?" Don't make fun of people with special needs, man. Stop that. I know you're not better than that, George Washington, but come on, man. That's a low blow. But I am autistic though, for sure. I've got I've got Asperger's syndrome. I'll admit it. I've got the same fucking syndrome that Elon Musk has, where I have no filter. Luckily, I'm not autistic in the sense that, like, I do have the ability to socialize. I'm just embarrassing, basically, and a little too arrogant. But, yeah, I'm basically an autistic dude. So, anyway, Michael Donaldson says, "I'll be in Washington, but I'll make the drive down." Yeah, I mean, if you get bored, man, if you want to, yeah, Michael Donaldson, man, hell yeah. What a beast, dude. What a beast. Donaldson says another way to find foreclosed houses or just derelict houses is drive around. Find them, go to the property tax office, find out who owns it, and contact them and try to buy it. Nice. That's another thing that was mentioned in the book that I was reading. Well, I'm almost done with it, but that was actually one of the things, is actually try to talk to the owners of the foreclosed house in offer to buy it at a reasonable price between you and them. It's kind of so to make it kind of a win-win situation. The person, because if the house does get completely foreclosed, that's bad for their credit. So you can let the owners know that, like, hey, I'll buy it from you so it doesn't have to go into foreclosure, but I will have to buy it at a lower price, obviously, that sort of thing. And there were some interesting negotiation tactics I read in there as well. Like, just trying to, be as sympathetic to their cause as possible. Maybe they're in some dire straits financially. It's just a bad situation for them. And maybe they inherited the house or something like that, and it's just not a good situation. There's a lot of variables that go into it. But, the readings that I've been doing on it's very cool. So it's kind of neat to be able to really get into the weeds on it. Maybe maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll go walk around somewhere. Maybe I'll go walk around in different neighborhoods and try to gauge the real estate situation in some of the Coos Bay, North Bend areas. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun live stream. But yeah, no, learning about this stuff has been pretty enlightening from the book that I've been reading. I might even look into it a little bit more. Michael Donaldson says, some people inherit houses and don't do anything with it. You can usually get those for a pretty good deal. Yeah, without a doubt. Oh, man. see. Some people inherit houses. Let's see. But yeah, some people do and don't do anything with it. You can usually get a pretty good deal. Absolutely. Yeah, honestly, being able to find a good deal on a place like that's always a plus. I get it. Check my phone real quick. Checking my Credit Karma thing real quick. I do love checking this shit out from time to time. What's my credit score currently? Oh, okay. I'm rocking an okay credit score right now. So I am in excellent range, but I want to be higher than excellent. I think excellent's actually the highest tier. But for instance, my Equifax is 759. My TransUnion is 751. So I got a pretty good credit score. I mean, I have a lot of credit cards, but I never use any of them, and they all have $0 annual fees on them. They're all like cashback reward bullshit. So I love the Venmo credit card, though. It's a pretty good one. Yeah, I got a lot of fucking cards. I was looking at all my credit cards, and dude, I just like see Venmo one. Yeah, all my other ones are pretty much all paid off. Yep. Yeah, all my. Hold on. Yep. Every other card is paid off completely. So, see, $0, $0, $0, $0, $0 owed, $0 City Double Cash Card, 50. That's not bad. Okay, cool. Let's see, $391 Venmo credit card 101, City Double Cash Card, 2%. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I have only cashback reward cards, and I pay off all my credit cards every 2 weeks. But I do have certain cards that I don't pay off because they have 0% interest, so I just kind of milk it a little bit. Like my Amazon store card, by the way, fun fact, is... hold on. Let's see. Michael Donaldson says, I wouldn't buy foreclosed houses unless you know how to remodel. What if I learned the skills I need to remodel? I mean, that'd be kind of tough. I mean, it takes probably a while to understand how to remodel a house. There's probably certain things that I would need to learn, but I wouldn't need to know everything. For instance, when it comes to electrical work, I mean, get somebody who's actually an expert in doing wiring, for instance, and then try to figure out the rest of the stuff. I guess if I learned how to like repair drywall, try to figure out how to fix leaky pipes. I mean, it's probably way more than that. There's probably other things I'm not accounting for in all of it. There's, there's a lot of variables that go into fixing up a house, but it would be a good experience. I mean, learning experience at least. But yeah, it's definitely a little scary though, because if you do fuck up too much, like, So, like, Donaldson, did you know how to remodel a house when you first started getting into foreclosed real estate stuff? I'm only curious more than anything. Like, you said you learned as you went, yes. But, like, did you kind of learn how to remodel houses just by, getting the foreclosed house and just being like, all right, I got to figure out how to fix this, this, and this? Like, I'm assuming you probably, like, you inspected the house before bidding on it or whatever, and then when you eventually got the house for the cash deal, you probably were able to take a look at, you probably listed out all the problems, and then you were like, okay, I got to solve this problem, this problem, this problem, and then of course, like you said, you learned as you went. So were you good at remodeling houses before, or were you kind of novice, like or just kind of like, I don't know, so you kind of learned as you went though, right? Like, did you have experience prior in remodeling, or was this just like something that you're just like, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to figure this out? Because I don't know. I mean, I've got the muscle to work on things, to work on that, but the skill and the know-how probably lacking. I would say most likely lacking. But the skill and the know-how can be learned through, honestly, various YouTube videos, if I'm going to be quite frank. Learning how other people do shit, you know. Dude, I love picking your brain, Mr. Donaldson. This is sick. Hell yeah. I love understanding how people do certain things, so... Donaldson says, I knew how to fix most things, but learned a lot as I went. Yep. I would assume the one thing that would be tough would be leaky roofs. How did you, out of all the tough repairs to have to deal with, how did you have any? I'm assuming you had some foreclosed houses already that had leaky roofs. How did you deal with leaky roofs? Did you end up just getting a roofing company to deal with it, or did you actually fix the roof yourself? Like, because for instance, I got a bit of a fear of heights, and it would be so tough for me to get on a fucking slanted roof, especially if it's like especially if it's like a 2 or 3 story house, you know. It would be, I guess, a good way for me to get rid of my fear overall. But I've definitely considered getting into real estate, though, like without a doubt. I'm always fascinated by I call it the Donaldson method. Michael Donaldson. I also made it to where I got rid of the noise cancellation on this, so that way I would take in more stuff, just to let everybody know. The reason I did that is because I want this to be an ASMR effect. I want everybody to hear all the noises around me. Basically my refrigerator in the background, and my heater's not on because it's pretty fucking warm at the moment. I'm not going to be doing a super long live stream. In fact, I will probably be ending this here pretty soon because I do have to do a little bit of delivery driving today. I want to make a couple extra bucks. Let's see. Donaldson says YouTube University wasn't as advanced back in the day, but it's a great source now. Absolutely, man. There's a lot more voices, a lot more people with cameras and stuff and camera phones. It's great. You can learn so much from a lot of people on YouTube. It's great. I think I just need to jump into it because there's a lot of opportunities in buying foreclosed homes. At least finding ways to get them at a better deal. One thing about Dean Graziosi, I'm just going to mention, he did say that and one of the things I took away from his book so far is that sometimes you just have to do things a little differently. And that inspired me, actually. He's like, I always do things a little differently. I was like, damn, that's smart. Because think about it this way. On my YouTube channel, this is one of the reasons why I think I've become more popular on YouTube, is because I look at what YouTubers are doing, but I decide to do things a little differently than what they're doing. Even the most popular YouTubers, I kind of use them as a template to a degree, but I'm like, I want to do something differently. I want to think a little differently than they do about this, or how they do this, right? So thinking a little differently is one of the big things he mentioned, is doing things differently than most of the other people out there. So it's kind of cool. Let's see. Donaldson says, I repaired the roof on my last house, which was 3 stories. Not fun yet. That would... Have you ever had to, outsource some of the work? Because, dude, that's the one thing. When it comes to roofs, fuck. Especially, I would have to buy single-story houses. If I had to work on roofs, absolutely I'm buying only single-story houses because I can handle 1 story, right? Once it gets to 2 stories, I'm like, fuck, if I got to work on this fucking roof. Shit. Damn. Hold on. Sorry about that, folks. I'm reading a message from my buddy. It's funny. Let's see. Venmo credit card. I will say I'm gonna have to start promoting the Venmo credit card a little bit. I do want to promote that a lot. I'm gonna put my referral link if there is one. I actually don't know if there's a referral link, but by the way, let's see. Mr. Donaldson says my current house is a single story. I learned. Yeah, that's the one thing is you have to know yourself. I know I struggle with heights. I really struggle with heights big time, and I not as much as I used to though. I got over my fear by just driving over the bridge as much as I can. There's a bridge that I drive over. That helped actually get rid of a lot of the fear. I still have a tinge of fear sometimes, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And I've just gotten used to it. So sometimes you just got to get used to things, you know. Damn, dude. I need to start doing more research on foreclosed homes. I need to start learning about this. Might even use a little YouTube University, you know, because I've learned a lot from the book that I'm reading. There's still some stuff I kind of forgot already. You know, any knowledge you learn, sometimes if you don't apply it, sometimes it gets lost in the weeds of your mind. Yeah. Oh, it's a little semantics on that one. Let's see. Salted Fishing says, how about them blueheads destroying Teslas? It's just as funny. It's just funny to me. I'm surprised, man. I just, you know, I knew the left was self-destructive, but not to this point. Like, you know, I'll give you an example. Bud Light. Remember the whole Bud Light fiasco and how conservatives were up in arms about Bud Light? Did you see conservatives blowing up Bud Light trucks? Just ask yourself the question. Was that in the headlines anywhere? Did they? Now, let's take the amount of stuff going on with the Tesla vandalism, right? So there's a difference. Now, don't get me wrong. There's always going to be some crazy conservatives out there, but I tend to believe that a lot of the left, the modern left, I should say, has become so disillusioned. They think everybody who owns a Tesla is a Nazi now. The irony is Elon Musk used to be beloved by the Democrats, but now he isn't because he's on the side of Donald Trump. The real Nazis, you know, I will admit, the left. I have an instructional video for you guys right now. The left, if you want to know who the real Nazis are, there might be one in your bathroom, okay? So any leftists who are watching this video, there's a Nazi in your bathroom. You got to go in your bathroom, though, real quick, okay? It's going to be tough when you do find this Nazi in your bathroom. He's hiding in your bathroom. Look under your sink. Look in your shower. Now, I want you to look at your mirror. Oh, shit. Did you look at the bathroom mirror? Did you see a Nazi? You did. Oh, my God. It was you. You're a Nazi. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not kidding, because I do think a lot of leftists have become the one thing that they fear the most. Leftists have become the Nazis. Because they're authoritarian. They want to tell people how to do, what to do, how to think, how to breathe even. And well, I wouldn't say how to breathe. That's a little extreme. But it could get to that point, you know. That's why I don't let anybody tell me what to do. You don't let anybody who thinks that I need to think a certain way. I won't. I'll do the opposite. Because I believe what I believe. And I get a lot of flack for what I believe, so. And what I believe is very basic, by the way. Minimal government. Yeah. And also the fact we need to pay down this fucking debt, by the way. I keep saying this, so I think the tariffs are fine. We're going to have a little bit of economic struggles, but let's see. Michael Donaldson says, I don't fear heights, just not worth the risk. Yeah. Understandable. Salted Fishing says, I thought they were loving and accepting. Yeah. I will say this. The leftists are not loving. They're loving and accepting if you agree with them. Most leftists these days are very, not all, but most, seem to be on the side of, like, if you like Donald Trump, you're a Nazi, and I'm going to kill you, is what they think. You know, that's just the way it rolls. I didn't see Republicans destroying Ford trucks after the gay Raptor. Yeah, I will say this. There's a disproportionate amount of violence on one side, and the irony is the amount of violence that tends to be, and I say disproportionately, there's always going to be some crazy right-wing people, but I have to say that there seem to be more crazy left-wing people out there based on the crazy amount of vandalism in the name of whatever cause they seem to believe in. Now, don't get me wrong. There are crazy right-wing people. I'm not going to deny that. But if we're going to have a competition of crazies in a quantity basis, I have to say the left seems to win on the crazy scale, which is one of the reasons I don't vote Democrat, because a lot of the Democrats don't have a good option to vote for anyway. If they did, I might vote Democrat, but they don't. Their ideology sucks, and it's really just ideology. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's just bad ways of thinking. We have a Democrat Party who still believes that communism and socialism are actually a way to go. It's a bad way. It's a way to go. It's a bad way to go, though. History proves me right. One of the reasons I'm so comfortable in being against socialism and communism is because history proves me right. And I will say most people who make excuses for socialism and communism typically tend to say, it wasn't implemented right. Oh, no, it wasn't done right. They just weren't doing it right. No, it just doesn't work with humanity, dude. Like, people need to grow up and just admit some systems don't work. Some systems are not as revolutionary as you think they are. And that's the thing. And I mock communism and socialism as concepts. I don't really want to mock the people who believe in it. I just think that the concepts I think it's just bad ideas, dude. Communism and socialism is a bad idea run amok. That's all I got to say. Let's see. Cool Chubby says, George Washington. I have to go later. Garza says, Michael Donaldson. Thank you, Michael Donaldson. I got just a couple notes on here from Michael Donaldson. He helped me see a few things that I needed to see, and I appreciate it, big dog. Thank you, bud. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to Michael Donaldson's channel. He's the man. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to George Washington. I don't know if he has any videos, but subscribe to him. Salted Fishing says it's amazing to seeing their mugshot. It's just what you'd expect. Oh my God. George Washington says crypto is for. Well, I'm not going to finish that. I think it's just for anybody who has crypto is an idiot. I'm an idiot because I do have Bitcoin. I never sold. I got into it early. I never sold it. I'm a dummy. And I'm included in that pool of dummies. But I bet against Bitcoin very heavily, by the way. Want one of the red vines? All right. Want one of these? Want one of these red vines? Fucking have them. Take my damn red vines, damn it. Shove them up your ass. No, but, Michael Donaldson, dude. My hero. The GOAT. All right, you guys. I am gonna go. Yum, yum. Yo, can I have one of those red vines? I'm gonna take off my tie real quick. Fuck this shit. Fuck this stupid tie. Fuck you. Oop. Oh, shit. Just vandalizing my own. I'm vandalizing my set. I'm so angry at liberals that I'm vandalizing my own shit. And fucking putting my tie, putting that in your butt, dude. Putting that in all you viewers out there. You fucking. But anyway. By the way, even though the Ninja Sizzle's not a sponsor of the show, Ninja Sizzle, Ninja, you need to sponsor this show, by the way. I'm always shilling your fucking products. I need Ninja Sizzle to sponsor my ass. Sponsor me. But let's see. I don't know if I have anything else I want to add to any of this, but I want to thank you guys for viewing as always. Anybody who jumps on at any point, I always appreciate you guys. The show is made for you guys. Well, it's made for anybody who wants to watch. I don't know sometimes I don't know who my target audience is. All I know is what I like and what I think will help. Here's the thing. I don't really know who my target audience is at the end of the day. I do know this, though. I know that there's a major problem, and that problem is people are bad with finances, and I believe I'm a decent, damn good investor. I will toot my own horn on this. I'm a damn good investor. But yeah, anyway. Let's see. I'm just going to read these comments real fast before I go. Thank you, says Salted Fishing, kind of hurt. Air brother, see you later. Ninja sponsor. Yeah, dude, Salted Fishing just said it best. Ninja, sponsor the show. The ball is in your court, and my balls are in your face. Got it? Get it. And Michael Donaldson, thank you for giving me more insight, all right? Thank you for the insight. I appreciate it, G-Dog. And we'll take it from there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to add, but I got nothing else, man. I'm chock full of ideas. Not really. Anyway, I'm going to start preparing to go do a little bit of DoorDash. Maybe. I might even do Uber Eats. I think I might do Uber Eats. I don't know. But I'm going to have fun with it, as always. And work my butt off. Probably only going to do like an hour and a half of it, just so I get a little extra money. Easy money. Salted Fishing. All right. See you, man. See you, G. All right. I'll catch you guys later. And, well,